Ladies and gentlemen, the time is here, Earl. It is schedule release night here in the NFL. We are just minutes away from the Browns officially releasing their 2025 NFL schedule. We've seen some leaks. We have a good idea of who the Browns will play, when and where, and at what point in the season. We are just waiting official confirmation from the Cleveland Browns. G. Bush will join us here in a second, Earl, but we do know that the Browns are going to host the Cincinnati Bengals in week 1. That has been officially confirmed by the NFL already. A rematch from 2 years ago. Earl, how do you feel about taking on the Browns to start the season? The Bengals, excuse me.
It's starting to seem a little redundant. I think it's starting to lose its excitement. Anytime that you open up the season against a divisional opponent, it's I know last year was the one-off with the Cowboys, but it's typically either Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or something like that. It just becomes a little bit redundant as far as well as opening up the season at home. But I mean, week 1, it's the Bengals divisional game right out the back, so the Browns will be tested early.
And Mary Kay has now tweeted out that the schedule is out. The schedule we are looking at here from Mary Kay is incredibly similar to the one we had seen leaked online, Earl. So let's go through this schedule game by game here. Let's give people a broad overview of what they can expect from the Cleveland Browns. But the Cleveland Browns are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at home in week 1. Traveling to the Baltimore Ravens in week 2, back-to-back AFC North games, Earl, to start the season. Week 3 at home against the Packers. Week 4 on the road against Detroit. Week 5 in London, taking on the Minnesota Vikings before coming back to the States and taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Week 7, they're back home against the Dolphins. Week 8 on the road against the New England Patriots. A Week 9 bye. Week 10, they're at the Jets. Week 11, home versus the Ravens. Week 12, at the Raiders. Week 13, at home versus the 49ers. Week 14, home versus the Titans. Week 15, at the Bears. 16 and 17, both at home against the Bills and the Steelers. And they close the season week 18 at Cincinnati. Earl, talk about a rough stretch to start the season. Home versus the Bengals, at Baltimore, home against the Packers, at Detroit, and home against the Vikings. Your first 5 games of the season. Brutal.
Yeah, I think, now that it's confirmed, me and you kind of talked about this before we jumped on the air. And, the Browns was looking at 0-5 immediately straight out the gate. And that might be, the first time week 6 to where you start hearing the rumblings of one of the rookie quarterbacks possibly getting the opportunity to get some playing time. So, the Cleveland Browns had the hardest strength of schedule for 2024. And they're right here, top 3, 2025, with a team that, by all accounts, is not expected to really make much noise. And, you hit the ground, a divisional opponent, and then you have to take on an NFC North 3 straight weeks, including the trip across the pond. Man, that's tough on a football team that is not expected to do much winning this year.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the times now. What's up, G. Bush? Can we hear you?
You got me?
We got you, G. Bush. G. Bush,
I am excited about the times.
G, no primetime games for the Browns. 0, zilch, nada, none. Thoughts?
Gotta earn it.
Love it. Listen,
you gotta earn it.
You get an opportunity to kind of just basically grind it out. Like a lot of what the Browns are trying to do is develop and getting guys ready to play for not next year, but for years outside of that. So for me, I look at it, you got to earn that. You got to earn the right to be able to play in prime time. And I like the fact that, you're going to have a lot of 1 o'clock games. For selfish reasons, I like to know what my fate is.
Facts. Facts.
Me too.
Facts. I like to know what my fate is early. I don't taking them L's early and be looking around trying to be like, man, it's 8 o'clock. Like, nah, like I like it. I like 1 o'clock games. I'm cool with it. And then, I just think it's an opportunity to fly under the radar a little bit. And then, look, who knows if some quarterback who might start playing, catch fire a little bit at the end of the year, might have an opportunity for some flex games, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Thursday night flex can be applied at any point in the season now, as long as it's a 3-week notice or 4-week notice. They can even flex Sunday night games now. We've seen that happen last season, but no Thursday nights, no Sunday nights, no Monday nights as of right now. All 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock kicks for the Browns. Earl, when I look at the schedule, you want to hop in? What do you want to say first?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing. I think because, looking at the Thursday night product, a lot of the fans have really, called to say we need better quality. And a lot of those games that we were seeing on Thursday night, it just didn't really fit the bill. And so now, this is the first year to where it's kind of like not a mandate that, all the teams, no matter the record, gets at least that one primetime game. I think that's cool. I think you, like G said, you got to earn the right to play on national TV, even if it's a Thursday night game. So, for the Cleveland Browns, they earned the right to be playing at 1 o'clock. And, as G said, for all three of us, for our own selfish reasons, I'm not mad at that at all. Matter of fact, let's clap it up for week 5. That's actually clapping up for week 5.
Week 5 in London.
That's going to be the most beautiful day of our schedule this whole season. So
absolutely. When I look at the schedule, and I'm just going to read you the first couple of games here, I got something I want to point out. But if you missed it, week 1, home versus the Bengals. Week 2 at Baltimore. Week 3, home versus the Packers. Week 4 at Detroit. Week 5, home against the Vikings, but home is London. Week 6 at Pittsburgh, which tells me week 7, we're seeing a rookie quarterback start at home against the Miami Dolphins. Woo! You have the Dolphins, the Patriots, and then a bye before taking on the Jets in week 10. That gives Joe Flacco and/or Kenny Pickett, if things go how I see it going, 6 games to establish themselves as a playoff contending quarterback or the long-term viable option at the position if you're Kenny Pickett. If not, that's a hell of a gauntlet to get out of the way to allow your rookie quarterback to come in and reinvigorate, light a spark under an offense that could struggle early on against the defenses like they're going to play to start the season. So I would circle that week 7 game home against Miami as the first time we will see either Shedeur Sanders and/or Dillon Gabriel start a game under center for the Cleveland Browns. What do you guys think about when you're looking at the big schedule here, where you can see a rookie quarterback making his debut?
Man, I'm looking at this schedule, bro.
It's tough.
Whoa, that is nasty work.
Yo.
Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really don't even like the Dolphins game is at home at 1, but that's a tough game, bro.
Man, I don't see a game, G, where you want to throw a rookie to the wolves.
It ain't really to be perfectly truthful with you. I mean, like if I was like week 9 bye. I mean, you coming out Bengals at Ravens, 2 division games back to back. Then you got the Packers, who I think is going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. Then you got another team that's compete for the NFC title. A 1 o'clock game at Detroit. Minnesota played very well last year. I think they're still going to have the footprints and blueprint to playing well. Then at Pittsburgh, the Dolphins with Tua are a different team, and even the doggone Patriots. I mean, at the Patriots week 8, bye week maybe, but I don't see no easy games to ease nobody in that first 8. I mean, if you want to squint and say on the road at the Patriots, I don't know.
You want to do it at home, G. You want to let him get that first start at home if you can.
Yeah, but do you really want that November 16th against the Baltimore Ravens? Absolutely not. So
no,
I can see Mike's point in it being
Miami,
because I mean December 7th against Tennessee, maybe.
It's too late. I feel like I need to see. I need more time. And listen, G, and Earl, I'm curious what you guys think. We all said, and we all feel right now that the moves the Browns front office made at the draft indicates they may have more job security than we initially thought. However, G, if they start 0-6 or 1-5, and that certainly could be possible with how we think the Browns are going to do and the level of competition they're starting the season with. People are going to be hooting and hollering for jobs and heads to roll, even though the expectation for this team is not nearly as high as it's been in the past. Can they survive a slow start? Even like they made the moves with the idea that they can, but
I'll go first. G, Mike, I think they can. I think like behind the scenes, I think that the Haslams and Kevin and Andrew have had a discussion about a plan that quite honestly, it maps out past 2025. Like, I don't believe that Jimmy is going to fold to public pressure of firing his guys, because if he was going to do so, he would have done so already. And so, as frustrating as it might be for the fan base, I think that we have to try to, kind of play detective from the outside and wonder, like, okay, what's the inside track? Like, realistically, what are their expectations? If they see this schedule, like, I'm pretty sure Jimmy and company know, okay, well, damn, 0-5, 0-6 is a real possibility here. And they also understand the way that this fan base is wired, that, they are going to call for heads to roll. And so will he fall victim to the public pressure of firing his guys when, as we sit right now in May, they might already know what the plan is? But who knows, man? It's one of those situations to where I ain't saying the Browns
sounds great, Earl, until Jimmy Haslam is the laughing stock of the league again. G, what do you think?
Here's the way this gonna go. I might not want to hear this, but I gotta keep it above with y'all. They go 0-4. Shedeur Sanders gonna open up on the pond. He gonna open up on the road in London, and that's what is that, week 5?
Yeah.
If you 0-4, you've already seen what you need to see. If you 1-3 and you be bad, you already need to see what you need to see. As McNuggets so eloquently said, I need to see that more. You think that McNuggets is the only person that's saying that? Because if you start off 1-3, you ain't got to worry about people saying, well, you just threw the season away. You already got the first 2-round picks next year. You need to, I'm telling people, you need to understand whether or not you have a quarterback this year or what you going to do with them picks. Because you better start that plan quick. You got to know what you're doing. And for me, here's how I know he's going to play early is because to set up he's going to play early, he has to be the backup quarterback, right? Yeah. He has to actually win the backup quarterback.
He got to win QB2 in order for that to be the case.
That's correct. That's correct. So if he win QB2, I think it's sooner than later. Now, if he's 3 and they got to give Pickett or Gabriel opportunity to take some L's too before he get in the game, you may see something around week 7, week 8. But I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be before week 8. It ain't going to be no 9, 10, 11.
He might be on to something.
When I was looking at the schedule, the reason I picked game 7 was if you want to throw them in earlier, by all means. I think 6 weeks in, depending on record, you'll know either we're officially done and we're looking ahead to next year and trying to figure out who can and can't play. And also just London's a weird week. It's a weird travel schedule. I feel like it's a pretty unconventional situation to throw a young quarterback into. And then coming back against the Steelers on the road, I just don't love that being his first experience. But just hear me out. If you give those 6 weeks to Flacco or Pickett, those final 11 games, you get a showcase and a runway to view both of these rookie quarterbacks. Shedeur and Dillon and Shedeur, whoever gets the first shot, ain't going to get the full shot. You got to figure out if both of them can play. I mean, you got to figure out. Gee, I'm not kidding.
I like that. He ain't gonna get the full. He ain't gonna get the full stimulus package.
But you got to figure out. I mean, even if they're just straight backups, like you got to figure out if they have a future in your quarterback room. That's 11 games to give both guys some opportunity to showcase what they can do. And that's assuming health, because that's the one thing that we can't factor in here. You never know what's going to happen. A guy could take a weird hit, be hurt. But I feel like 11 weeks, if you can't tell if one of these two dudes is the guy after 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, we tried to tell ourselves DTR is the guy 4 different times because he only played 2 weeks at a time. And we never got to see enough of him to make that full determination. What was Sean King's fire line? The worst that ever happened to DTR was he actually had to play.
Right.
Like Sean King. We need to see Shedeur Sanders and we need to see Dillon Gabriel play to make some sort of proper evaluation. I think 11 games is enough. If you want to go 2 prior and give him 13 games, you know what? I have no issue in the world. If you want to start them all 17, I actually would have no issue in the world. If you thought Shedeur or Dillon was just as close to Pickett and Flacco, start them all.
Hey, this Cleveland.
The whole season.
We got to put some promo behind it, right? So to what Mike is saying, I think Dillon going to get the first call. I think Dillon may be the first quarterback to get the opportunity to show if the Browns, quote unquote, have a quarterback or not, right? And let's say hypothetically that comes Miami or the New England week. I think that by November 30th, after that San Francisco game, it sets up for Shedeur to take over to close out the final 5, with the first matchup being at home against the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh.
and Cam Ward.
I like where your mind's at with that, Earl.
So I think that because if you look at the back end of it, right, like one, you hope that each quarterback is set up success, like to have success equally. But if we being realistic and you look at this schedule and we look at the Pro Bowl and just how everything else goes with it, they make a quarterback change against the Dolphins, and that quarterback is Dillon Gabriel, and then he plays against Miami, New England, the Jets, Baltimore, Vegas, and San Francisco. And then he gets his ass handed to him and by San Francisco week. And then they come out next week, okay, it's Shedeur's turn. Shedeur gets the first start at home and a crazy Huntington Bank field against Cam Ward. They share the same quarterback coach. They are friends. You already know the media spectacle that's going to be behind that. You turn around, you go to Chicago, you come home for Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and then you finish against Cincinnati. So Shedeur will have the opportunity to win the fans over against Cam Ward. And then if he can beat one of those or two of those divisional opponents, that's going to get the fans excited. So to everybody's point in here, I think we're along the lines that between week 5 and week 7, I think it's a strong possibility that we see one of these rookie quarterbacks. But for me, I think it'll be Dillon Gabriel first, because the back end of that schedule, it sets up for Shedeur Sanders to have a lot of success. And based on everything that's going on already with the marketing, the promo, and the media that's surrounding him off the field, just knowing how the Browns have operated in the past, they're going to try to do whatever they can to get return on that investment. And the schedule weakens up at the end of the season, or at least for those 2 or 3 games.
Here's the problem that this is the logistically speaking. The longer you wait to play Shedeur Sanders, right, the smaller sample size you have. They're going to have to decide early on, yeah, we plan on giving Gabriel and Shedeur opportunity. These veterans are going to have to sit down quicker. The worst thing that,
if you want to start on week 1, I swear to God, G, I know it sounds crazy. I'm all for it.
The worst thing that could happen is if you get Shedeur Sanders and he plays pretty good, but it's not enough for sample size to be definitive about whether or not he's better than said quarterback who they got rated in the top 10 next year. Yeah. And then you deal with the whole thing all offseason. You're going to have people that's going to be going crazy. Like, what you talking about? He was balling against this person, this person, this person. He threw these amount of sessions. And then you're going to be like, but it was 5 games. We don't even know. This guy's a generational. We got to take. You settle it early. To be truthful, I'm like Dan Orlowski. I care less than Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco touch the field. That's not your that's your college girlfriend. That ain't a bride. You ain't getting engaged to him. That's your college girl. Y'all gonna have some fun. Y'all might hang out, go to the movies. But you trying to find out if I could take one of these dudes to one of these, that was crazy. Take one of these young ladies to your mom and dad and sit down and eat a meal, right? So I need to figure it out early. I need to know before all the. Listen, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm sorry. I can only give 4 games to them veterans. If we're gonna assume that Dillon Gabriel's getting an equal opportunity, the worst case scenario, this might suck. If Joe Flacco is 3-1 in that first,
come on, G. I knew he was gonna do this, Mike. I knew he was gonna do this.
Real. And this is the dilemma. This is like Mobley winning DPOY, and it hurts the Cavs in their cap situation and their ability to re-sign guys. And on one hand, we would love Joe Flacco to start off the season hot, win some of these games. Cleveland would be going crazy. We saw what happened in December of 23, Flacco fever, Flaccavelli. Like, that'd be incredible in the short term. It would be the worst thing possible for this team in the long term, because Joe Flacco is virtually G. Bush's grandpa. And you need to see whether Shedeur or Gabriel is the long-term answer. And you can't make that. Can you imagine the press conference if Stefanski under Barry had to make the announcement they were benching Joe Flacco when the Browns are 4-2 because they had to get an evaluation of the rookies? Can you imagine it would be on the one hand the best thing for the Browns, and on the other hand the absolute worst.
That's the easiest way to piss this fan base off, right? Because this fan base don't give a damn about selling tickets. This fan base don't give a damn about their Brook Park Dome. This fan base give a damn about their investment turning into wins on Sundays when the weather is turning into cold temperatures, when you need something to keep you warm. And if the Browns find somehow, some way, and a way of being competitive, and they found a way to alter that, man, that will tick the citizens of Cleveland off so bad. And I don't think Jimmy Haslam wants that smoke. This steal the land. This is still the 216. That's just a bad move. So
against those and them teams evoke emotion. If you still beat, say it's a shootout with the Bengals, and he and then they go to Baltimore. You know what we gave Deshaun Watson? He beats Lamar, and then say he mess around and get a win in Lambeau or Detroit.
Bruh. If anyone missed it, by the way, I have the Browns schedule release video. We've seen all the videos. You know, the famous one was the Titans a couple years ago on TikTok when they asked people to name the mascot. The Browns have had so-so schedule release videos. This one's a minute 30. This is this year's. You guys ready to take a look? I haven't seen it yet, but you ready to take a look at the Browns schedule release video? Let's watch. They missed again. What the hell is that?
Hey, first of all, who in the chat said the beat hard? I agree with the beat being hard, but this whole narrative of turn out the lights like y'all like y'all about to go out here and make some noise. That was
that little troll, that little elf, bro, got way too many powers. I didn't like how it was smirking like that. And it was doing stuff reversing time. Like that thing was a little creepy, bro.
I don't know. Was that on the clock?
Like he was doing stuff in reverse. He was
it OTC though?
He was just doing like this. Bow.
Shout out to the OTC boys, but like that, I mean, he had the clock working. I don't know what else that it had the Stranger Things music.
That elf looked like he about to be in the next Chucky movie.
They miss every year. How did the Browns miss every single year?
I don't know. Somebody sat around an office table, a very long boardroom, and they said, "Listen,
this week and
coming up is John for marketing. He has the video. Come on in, John.
John, what you got for us today?
What you got for the? Listen, this is a new concept that we're doing right here, and they rolled this out. They actually clapped afterwards and was like, "This is it." Shedeur Sanders is in the building. Let's go. I thought y'all was trying to phase the elf out. What happened to the dog?
That's so cheap, man. That was no offense, Cleveland. That was terrible. That was terrible.
We got to be better than that, man.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. And then people get mad at us for being like, "How's this team gonna win more than 3 games?" Why? Because that's the hype video they put out there.
Yo, we should have did a hype video. Our Evan Mobley hype video last year was better than that.
like here, let me. I'm gonna show you one of the better videos. Hold on one sec. I gotta download it.
That was
that was this. I mean, that was just not. That was weird.
Wow. Yeah. This little. I thought you had the wrong video for a little bit, McNuggets. I said maybe this was
no.
And was that AI? Was that AI?
Hey, the music sound like on the menu of Call of Duty when you finna select what game you want to play.
I don't like. Yeah, it's old, some old Metal Gear Solid type music.
When you look at the when you guys look at the full schedule real quick, do you see? I think the beginning's the hardest part. What do you think is the easiest 3 or 4 game stretch when you look at the full thing? There isn't. I don't think there is an easy stretch. But what do you think is the easiest 3 or 4 game stretch in here?
I mean, I see a 2-game stretch, Titans and the Bears. To be totally honest with you, I think,
Yeah,
and that's sad, but that 2-game stretch is probably the easiest part of the Cleveland Browns' entire season right there. And so, that might where you get wins 1 and 2. That might where you get wins 2 and 3 on the season. But just at first glance, when I look at it, if you're looking within that 4 games, you got the Raiders, the Niners, the Titans, and the Bears. So within that 4 games, I say you got 3 winnable games in there, if I'm being realistic. I think San Francisco, even with all the changes this offseason, I think that's a franchise that the front office knows what they're doing. The coaching staff knows what they're doing. So they're still going to be competitive. But you look at Tennessee, they're right there with the Cleveland Browns as far as, expectations and talent. And then you look at the Chicago Bears, a lot of young talent there. They did a lot of investing into their offensive line to protect what they hope to be their franchise quarterback. So, who knows? It's still like TBD, and they have a new coach there. So that should be something there. But that's the easiest stretch I see for the Cleveland Browns this season.
I'm gonna take a little detour. I'm gonna say
I got a different one too.
I'm gonna start at week 6. At Pittsburgh is tough. But I think Dolphins at home, Patriots on the road. You get a little healthy, the bye week coming up, and then you get the Jets, right? I'll take those 4 games. I think you could go 3-1, 2-2 in that frame. If you want to get real downright nasty with it, you can go 3-1. I mean, the Steelers still looking for a quarterback. The Dolphins and Tua, who knows if he'll be playing by that time. And you got at Patriots, still got a second-year coach, and they were drafting in the top 5 for a reason. And then you got the Jets, So for me, I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. I'll take that little stretch right there. 6, 7, 8, 9 being the bye, and then 10.
And if you want to even push that out a little further, G, I think you can combine almost the start of yours to Earl's. And it's not an easy stretch by any means because we don't know how good these teams are going to be. But week 6, Pittsburgh has no quarterback. Week 7, Tua on the road. If the Dolphins are really good or really bad this season, I don't think I'd be surprised. Then the Patriots on the road. They could be good. They could be terrible again. By Jets. The Ravens is tough. Make no mistake, that's a tough game. But then the Raiders, the Niners are up in the air, Titans and Bears. I feel like the schedule starts with 4 really, really tough games. You have Minnesota. If J.J. McCarthy's good, they'll be great. If he's not good, that's a question mark. So week 5 to week 15, you're facing all the quarterbacks or most of the quarterbacks on the schedule that you're not certain of. And those games, that stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, could face 5, 6 teams that have question marks at quarterback. I think the schedule is front-loaded, back-loaded, and the middle is navigatable if you're getting decent quarterback play.
Hey, Jason Webb said you should be the Browns' live mascot. That was a funny-ass comment.
Me?
Sorry, Mike. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I do a better job than the elf. Like, let's be honest.
He said live action, too. Like, you be doing stunts as the elf. Like,
I don't think I could. I'm not athletic like that. Not even remotely close. Speaking of, go. Sorry.
No. So like, gee, you really think it's a stretch in there, man? That the Browns can go 3-1? You really think that?
They get good quarterback play. If one of these rookies turns into a really good quarterback, yeah.
I'm gonna say. I mean, we had all-time worst quarterback play last year, man. Like, we couldn't move the ball at all. Like,
I think the Cleveland Browns, and maybe my bar is so low or my expectations are so low because of how massive the disappointment was last year. But I do like this rookie class, and we still do have a solid defense. I think there is a pretty strong chance that the Cleveland Browns can look really, really good losing a lot of games. There's been seasons in the past where the Browns lost a lot of games, but the margin of victory was never no more than like 4 or 5 points. And with a young team, with some young quarterbacks that you're trying to figure out if they can play or not, I think that they're going to have some moments to where they awe you. I think the defense is going to be solid enough to kind of keep you in games. But I do think that youth and inexperience is going to show up, in those 4 minutes, 2 minutes of ball games. And so, quite honestly, I think this is going to be a long, tough season. for us as fans. But I think the Browns can actually look good losing this year, better than what they looked last year. That's for damn sure.
It's like the Patriots. And a lot of the reason the Patriots have momentum heading into 2025 is even though their record wasn't good last year, Drake May showed a ton of progress. And they competed, they fought, they lost some games that they were in till the very end. And that's a momentum builder. You can build on that. What's tough to build on is what happened to Cleveland last year, where they couldn't score more than 7 points in a game. And there was no tangible offensive growth for you to say, hey, look at the end of last season with player X and Y. They're only 23, 24. They'll take that step forward. There was some with that with Jerry Jeudy. Cedric Tillman showed some promise. He got hurt. All the quarterbacks this year are brand new. You didn't see any of them last season. So I think that's part of the reason why our expectations and our imagination for growth of this team is stunted compared to a team like New England, who did show some of that promise down the stretch, which it's momentum. It happens in all sports. That carries over from year to year, and you can talk yourself into a lot of good things. But I think all this, G, comes down to, are they going to get quality quarterback play? And if they do, our thought of this team changes drastically.
You don't have to look hard. See, unlike a lot of people, I look at football and I think it's a year-to-year sport, and I think it's about the momentum that you build, and then also think about it's the cohesiveness of each and every unit. You may look at the pieces and parts and you say, okay, I can look and say I got a number one receiver, Jerry Jeudy. All right. You said you wanted to run 2 tight end sets. We got fullbacks on the roster. We're going to run this football, but we got a guy, Harold Fannin Jr. and Njoku, that should be pretty good as guys that are going to be nightmares for people to team up with in the run and pass game. So I love our running back room. I think you got younger at running back, more explosive. You want a guy, Deontay Johnson. He's a head case. He's one of those loose cannon type guys, but talent-wise, if you can get the most out of him, you should be able to have something there. You still got Myles Garrett. You still got Denzel Ward. I like what I see at linebacker. Schlesinger looks like a guy. You look around and, hey, listen, if you could get Mike Hall Jr., if you can get Mason Graham, if you got the other kid that I like him that they got from Tampa Bay. He's another former first-round pick, Washington. I thought he played out of position in Tampa Bay. They got a free agency. And if DeJuan Jones it's a lot of ifs, but I can squint my eyes and say, yeah, all we need is solid quarterback play. And then you catch lightning in the bottle if you can get some young quarterbacks. If Shedeur can come out here and play ball, I think he's going to ignite the city. And then when it's ignited, it's a fair game at that point.
So I talked to Mary Kay Cabot on Saturday when I hosted my radio show, and one of the things that me and her talked about, that all these quarterbacks, whether it be the veterans or the rookies, they are going to have a strong running game to be able to lean on to help kind of get them through this 2025 season as the Browns continue to retool and revamp this roster. And I thought it was something that, to keep an eye on, that the Browns did bring a fullback as an undrafted rookie free agent into camp. And you just look at getting back to Stefanski's scheme. You look at the drafting of 2 running backs. You've heard Andrew Berry talk about Jerome Ford will have a role on this team. And so knowing that the offensive line has its deficiencies, knowing that you really don't have, top tier playmakers at the wide receiver position outside of Jerry Jeudy, you want to give these young quarterbacks every opportunity possible to be successful. And the one way that you do that is being able to complement their play with a strong running game. And so I think that the Cleveland Browns are showing you early, how they plan on approaching this 2025 season.
We have one other thing we have to mention here before we log off tonight, guys, but the Jacksonville Jaguars schedule. I know it's not the Cleveland Browns, but the Browns and Browns fans very interested in how Jacksonville does this season, considering they own the Jaguars 2026 first-round pick. This is the Jaguars schedule. Carolina week 1. Cincy week 2. The Texans week 3. The Niners week 4. The Chiefs week 5. The Seahawks week 6. The Rams week 7. Then they have a bye in week 8. The Raiders, Texans, Chargers, Cardinals, Titans, Colts, Jets, Broncos, Colts, and Titans to wrap up their 2025 slate. When you look at the number of teams that they play compared to Cleveland, who was a playoff team last year, it is night and day an easier schedule. And
they're not getting a top 5 pick. Stop with that.
I don't love seeing that.
They got the AFC South, first and foremost, that teams win that division with one game over 500 all the time.
Yeah, that's facts.
And then put over the top of it, they didn't been to I never saw the Jaguars can be trash. I mean, like, they got a quarterback, like, right? Like, they have a quarterback. They have high draft picks up and down the defensive line. They got a nice runner. They got Travis Hunter. I'm like, look, bro, I see them winning possibly 10 games, 11 games possibly. I don't see these L's just piling up for them. I don't see it.
I mean, if Trevor Lawrence shows up and do what he's supposed to do and stay healthy, then I can see easily Jacksonville winning 10 or 11 games. But just like most situations, I think it's all predicated on him, how well he plays, how healthy he is. That entire situation down there in Jacksonville is new. They got a new head coach, new GM. So, that's TBD there. But they clearly have a lot of talent, when it comes to skill position players. It's just one of those wait and see. Do I project them or anticipate them having a top 5 pick? No, but I think that pick could probably be in the top 12. I think that.
Can I ask y'all something? This is kind of off the beaten path.
What's up?
I want to see how they gonna play these preseason games. How do you feel like they got 3 of them? How do you feel they're gonna start these guys?
I think Shedeur starts and plays a whole game. I think Gabriel starts and plays a whole game, and the first one they decide, Shedeur plays a half and Gabriel plays a half. I don't want to see Pickett or Flacco take a single snap in the preseason.
Do you think?
I don't think Flacco gonna be here. I'm gonna be real.
You think Pickett will be here?
I think Pickett will be here. Even though I don't want it to come to grips with it, just the more that we hear the insiders talk, right? The people that's around the team on a regular basis, and it seems like every single one of them has pointed out, this whole situation with Kenny Pickett. It's a little deeper than what y'all think. And I just think of the quarterbacks, right? Flacco was over 40 years old. Okay, so that is what it is. With Pickett, young guy still on his rookie deal, hasn't had much success, but he's a young cat. And the Browns kind of, they like that. They like those tweeners, those median guys, right? And then you got the 2 rookies. And we all know, man, the reps is not enough reps to go around. There will become teams that are starving for a quarterback, more than likely a veteran quarterback, right? We've talked already about the situation in New Orleans. That can be a potential destination to where, you can send Flacco. Who knows who else is going to get hurt throughout this entire situation? It's just my gut is telling me that when this thing is all said and done, it's going to be Kenny Pickett and the 2 rookies on this roster. And I think by the time that we get closer to that situation, Mike is right. I think both rookies will be given the opportunity to start a preseason game. It'd be interesting to see, though, let's say whatever veteran is here, which quarterback is first up off the bench, next up in line to take those snaps.
Yeah, I mean, Nuggets. I would roll with you. I've slowly come to the realization. I would have been in propose. I would just say, all right, let's give Flacco opportunity because of what he did before, and I think you saw what the offense was like when he played here. But for me, it does you no good. It don't. You setting yourself up for heartache and pain by just giving these precious reps away when you have to be evaluating for the long and in the short term. So for me, I'm in full compliance. I believe that one of these rookie quarterbacks should probably start the majority, if not all of the games for the Cleveland Browns and figure out what it is. And if they play bad or they struggle, guess what? Now your picks are way higher than we thought they were.
Exactly. All right, guys, let's put a wrap on this. We've been going for 40 minutes. The Browns schedule is released. We put the link to the schedule in the chat. They open up against Cincinnati, then head on the road to take on the Ravens, back home against the Packers, then in Detroit, in London against the Vikings, then back on the road against Pittsburgh right after that. It's the first 6 weeks of the season. tough start. G. Bush, Earl, we have one super chat. That's from DB Dog 21, who says, don't worry, the Browns will be flexed in. That is in reference to the Browns getting 0 primetime games. They are one of 3 teams to not get a single primetime game in the initial schedule. The Titans and the Saints, the other 2 teams that did not get a primetime game. We're back tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. If you want even more schedule breakdown and reaction, you can find us there. But for now, Earl, G, I appreciate you guys. Oh, we have one more super chat that just came in. UCSS Best Sports Show. We appreciate you, Ohio, 1991. That's going to wrap it up here for this combo UCSS Bleacher Report stream. Make sure you download the Bleacher Report app. And make sure you watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. G, Earl, I'm McNuggets, and we'll see y'all next time. And remember, go Browns.
Peace.
Peace.